Hello and welcome to Construct Pro with me, Kevin Sawyer. Hope you guys and girls are all well and enjoying your day, whatever you're up to. Right, this game has been kindly given to me by the developers. The developers go by the name of Enter Username, please. It's been given to me freely. Although it's been given to me freely, I'm still going to give fair and impartial review of this. This game will be released as an early access on the 9th of October 2018, and it'll be early access, so if you're thinking about getting this game, you will obviously have to bear in mind it is an early access game. There's going to be a lot of things they're going to need to work on. I'm going to go through the good, the bad, the ugly with this. As I say, I'm going to give a fair and impartial review of this game. Right, so as things stand with this sort of like, well, it's not even, I'd say I call it an early beta. You've got options. You can turn the audio on and off. It does actually have like a little music that plays in the background. It's very soft and sedate. You can hardly hear it, to be fair. That's why I've got my music playing. For the graphical side of things, the only options really got here. You can change the resolution. You can put the effects on or the shadows on if you wish. And the control is your mouse, and then it's just got the sensitivity there. And the language is obviously English, and then this language here. There is a guide for this, but I'm going to try and go through what the controls are and everything else. I would follow the guide if you get stuck at any point, but I've played this game for a little while now, and to get how this thing works and everything else. I've made one model. I will come back to that in a minute, but just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to start a new model. Right, so I'm going to go through the controls. As things stand, I'll try and pan round. It's a bit finicky. This is one of the things I would sort of like say to developers, and I hope they work on this, because I'll go through what the controls are. In order to sort of like pan back and forward, it's just roll up and down on your mouse button. If you want to try and move the camera around, if you press and hold the middle mouse button and then press and then roll to the left, and it's like the pans to the right, and then roll to the right and it pans to the left. And then if you want to go up and down, you roll the mouse down, it goes up, and roll the mouse up, it goes down. And it's inverted. It can be a bit of a pain. That's one of the things I would sort of like was really biting my lip about when trying to grab parts and move things around. I hope at some point the developers add some sort of controller support so you can use a controller. I'd say this game's probably going to be more geared up. I don't know if it's their plan or not. Geared up for virtual reality. I don't know if that's. I haven't read their blurb, I must admit. I suspect it will be at some point, because it's just the way that it seems to. It would work very well with virtual reality. It does work conventionally. As I can show you can try and pan round so you guys can see the room you're in. If I've got a little cactus plant here, and then you got a guitar over here. That's why it gets a bit annoying, because you can't. It's kind of fixated on one specific spot. You can't really move around. If they use the WASD keys, or even the directional keys on the keyboard, just so you could pan the camera around a bit easier, it just make life a bit easier rather than having to move the mouse around and try and pan around this way, because it's a bit finicky. Right, let's try rotate over here a bit. In fact, if I grab a part, it makes it actually a lot easier. So if I just I'll grab this, and then I can pan this around with WASD keys, and it pans the camera, pans the camera around a lot easier. So I carry this part about so you guys can see it a lot easier. As you can see, you've got like you've got a nice cup of what looks like could be hot cocoa there, maybe. Pan back, could be hot cocoa, it could be tea or coffee. I'd say it looks more like hot chocolate. Looks more like hot chocolate to me. Got some books there, a telephone, little box there of bits. It looks like a Meccano box. Let's try and pan around a bit more. Yeah, I'd say that's Meccano. Or their version of Meccano. There's a whole TV sitting over there. Looks like a sort of like cupboard with a load of like teapots in it. The sofa with a guitar sitting there. A nice little chair and a desk. And this cool little fan over here. If I just quickly click off the part, then you can hit the fan. That's setting 1, setting 2, setting 3. I don't know if it has any physics in it for the wind or for moving of air. There is physics in this game. If I demonstrate to you, if I grab this part, move it around, and then click off it. If I press G, alright, okay, because I haven't connected 2 bits together, it won't let me do that. Right. I'll go through what the controls are. So obviously, like I said, that pans your camera around by, if you press and then press the right mouse button and hold it down, it pans up and down as well. And then the middle mouse sort of like pans the whole camera around like that. So to pan the whole camera around like that, you can do that. If you just want to scroll around and move around, hold the right mouse button and it's got scrolls around that way as well. Right, to grab the parts, just click it with the left mouse button, and then in order to move the part around like that, it's WASD to move it just like that. And if you want to reset it, because we've moved it about a bit, press C to reset it and resets it back to its default position. If you want to rotate it, you can do. It's Q to rotate it like that way, or E to rotate it like that way. This is where again it gets a bit finicky and it gets a bit tricky. You know, say you know, I'm just hoping that developers will at some point sort of improve how this sets out, because I think this game has potential to really go somewhere. It's just one thing that really would annoy a lot of people is how the controls are set out. But in order to rotate in a different way, if you press left shift and then Q, it rotates it that way, and then E rotates it that way. So if you want to lay it in a certain direction like so, then just do that, and then press release shift and then press Q to rotate it that way if you want, and then E if you want to rotate it that way. And then again, if it's a bit finicky, but you get what I mean. If you then want to rotate again, press Q and it just like rotates on its axis. And that's how it's, again, it's a bit hit and miss, but I'll go through more of it as I go through, as I build more bits. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by grabbing, I'm just going to build something simple. So if I grab this and then spin it round, and then grab, I'm going to grab one of these. No, not one of them. You should press delete if you grab something and you didn't need it. Just press delete. What's the bit I'm looking for? Again, this is the bit that gets, because you can't pan over to the box very easily. There we go. Actually, no, that's no good. It's not a part I need. Delete. I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna make it really dead simple. Right. I know this is crude, before people start jumping up and down and go, oh, it's not how I build it, but just for demonstration purposes, because I don't want to make it overly too long. Right, so if you want to marry up two bits together, this is where it gets a bit tricky again, and this is part of the, I hope the developers work on. But if you roughly get it near to where you want it, see how this little yellow dot's appeared? If I pull it away, it goes grey, and then that yellow dot appears. Now, sorry, as I did itch my nose. Now, if you hold space, it should then click on. Now, you've got options up here. You can press, if you press that, and then hit the screw, it'll wind it on tight. That means it will not spin though. So, if you want the item to spin, don't click that. Just leave it unclicked. And see this little checkbox? If you've decided you didn't want that, press X obviously, and then it'll cancel it. If you wanted that, you need to press click. But first of all, we need to click on the bolt itself. Then you see the bolt spinning, and then press the tick box, and it puts the wheel on. And if I do the same thing for the rest, pull this run round. Oops. So it gets a bit finicky, and if you do decide to get this game, you're gonna be like shouting at the screen quite often just to get things married up. But say if you're trying to do some precision mounting, say you want to try and get it up and it's quite difficult to line up, if you press T, that slows down time. I call it fine positioning, but it slows down time. See, now notice how it's really slow as I'm moving back and forth. Now if I I'm pressing the WASDs, the WAS keys, WASD keys I should say. But then if I press T again, you can see it goes a little faster. Press T again, and goes a lot slower. And again, look, you can see it then comes up the yellow marker. Now this is a bit that annoys me. You no longer can actually move or pan the camera around, and it's a bit annoying. So what you have to do, if you can't see things because something else is in the way, you need to press T again to pan your camera around, and then press T again if you need to line it up, and so on and so forth. But don't forget to press T and unfreeze time before you press the space bar to marry the button a bit up, because it takes forever otherwise. And then just again click the bolt, hit the tick, and then it puts the wheel on and you're good to go, and then just click off it. Now if I pan up to there, and grab a motor, again it's going to be crude. I could probably do a lot better than this, but this takes me back to my childhood. I spent a lot of time playing with Meccano or Technic Lego when I was a kid. This reminds me of it. I've got rid of a lot of my Meccano. I think I gave a lot of mine to a charity shop. I think in the end, when I got a bit older, I was like, yeah, I can't be playing with Meccano anymore. It's just not allowed. But anyway, what I need to do is this is again, it gets a bit tricky here. I need to pan this round just right, like that. It is a bit forgiving, but again, it's a bit finicky, and you're going to find yourself sort of like biting your lip and sort of like swearing a lot at your monitor. Right, see now how it's not connected up both those. See, I'm not going to put it up secure tightly. I'm going to put it on loose. So again, click the nut and then do that. Now if you press this and that, it should then sort of like hopefully marry up. It's It's not going to do it though. So what I'm going to do is take this off. And if you want to get rid of a nut, again, if you put nut on and you want to move a bit, just click on the nut itself and press delete, and then you're good to go. Well, that's the bit I need to move. So move this over to here now. And then press, well, you're going to get that message a lot. Too sharper angle, too sharper angle. Just press T and slow down time a bit and just line it right. Try it now. There we go. Let's put that on tightly. I don't know if it's going to work. This is part of the fun of the game. It's a bit experimental. Right. Now, if I grab another wheel and then bring this over to here. And then, again, this is where it gets a bit finicky. You need to sort of like just line yourself up right. Press T to slow down time, and then see how it's gone yellow. Press T again. Press spacebar. The nut comes on. We don't want to do that up tightly, and we don't want to add this nut. See how this nut has come on? You don't want to do that, obviously, because if you do, the thing is just not going to work. So you only click on the relevant nut that you want to add. So I want to add this nut here, but I don't want to do it up tightly. I want to do it up loosely again, because if you do it up tightly, it's going to not spin. So there we go. Jobs are good. And grab another wheel. Pull it over here. Again, these people are going to be looking at the graphics thinking, no, this is hardly earth-shattering. It's not GTA graphics, is it? But it's not trying to be GTA. It's just a little bit of fun. For those people like me that have got rid of their Meccano kits, want to go back to their childhood building stuff, then you've got options. You see, when I used to build stuff on Meccano, I always used to start off of my project and then it'd be like I've run out of bits, because I never had enough bits to do the things I wanted to do. One of the things I wanted to do is build a big Ferris wheel. I never had enough bits, but anyway. Right, so that more or less should be good to go. You can put pivots and axles on, and I could have gone all down that route and done that, but I want to try and keep this nice and simple, just to keep the video shorter. But now, if you want to move the actual model itself, if you press P, you now can use WASD keys. You can't rotate though. Look, I'm trying to rotate, but you can't. You can bring it down. You got your basic. Just move it around. When you're happy with where you're placing it, you press again P, and then it should then good to go. Now, if I press G, the gravity mode comes on. Now, you might be thinking, how do we get the motor to run? Right. What you do is you press X, and that should start the motor off, and the thing will start moving away and running away on you. And then if you press V, it'll start bringing it back like that. And it does work. It's crude, but it works. But it does work. Let's pick the model up, and then let's try and move it up if we can. Oh, we've got to press P again to move the model. Oh, it won't let me. Oh, because gravity mode's on. You need to deselect gravity mode, and then it'll reset to the last position that the item was on. So again, press P, and then you can move. You just can't rotate. I just hope they implement the rotation, because it would help if you could rotate this. But anyway, So you might be thinking, well, okay, I built myself a simple car. How I can't just keep them flying it around this desk here. This is where it gets quite clever. If you back out and then go start testing and then go back to start assembly, if I now pan round, you can now see a little test pad which you can launch your vehicle into. So if I press P and then pull this over to the testing facility, no, it might not let me. Right, so again, because there's no way I can knock this round, I'm going to have to try and just bash it round. I find if you use like the coffee cup or something else. There we go. Right. There we go. Right. Cool. Now P. Now G to gravity mode. Let's click off the model. Actually stay on it, and then if I press X, it should now go flying off the edge like so. And then you can sort of like try and just fly your unit round however you wish. I've got mine stuck. Let's try picking it back up again if it let me. No, I don't think it will let me. It's trying to unwedge it from. There we go. There we go. It's moving. It's wedged, but it is moving. There we go. Again, it's crude, but it does work. I think if I put 2 motors on this, it would have worked a lot better. But you get the gist of it, peeps. If you put a pivot on this, you're good to go. But if you're happy with your model, you need to save it. Right. Because don't just exit out the game. You'll have all sorts of problems. In order to save it, what you need to do is if you press Shift and K, it won't let me do that. So if I go back to the this and go back to start assembly. And pick up this, if it will let me. Oh no, I've got to pick up the model. It won't let me. Oh, turn off gravity. There we go. Right, so turn off gravity and resets it back to the table anyway, so I didn't need to have to worry about that. But if you want to save your model, if you press Shift and K, it should come up with this little dialog box on the bottom here. You can just leave it as that name, or you can change it out to whatever you like. And then it saves it. And then the thing I find a bit weird about this is you'll see your models here, but it doesn't appear. What you need to do is you need to then come out of game. So as it goes all blank. Again, that's another thing which I hope they improve on in the future. Then go back into game. and then you should see it appears in your assembly, and it's cleared your assembly area as well. So if you go into my models, you see it there, and then you can bring it in. But I won't bring it in because I want to show you this, guys. This is something I worked on. Took me in game time about 4 hours to build this thing because of the controls. But this is my version of a big wheel. I know it's not perfect, but again, it's working with what I've got. Let's move the model and plunk it on the ground. I don't think it matters if it falls to the deck, but I'll put it against the ground anyway. There we go. And then if I now press G and then press the motors, again it's X and V. V that way, X go that way. You can actually change the you can assign buttons to it. If you click on the motor itself, see these little buttons? If you click on the button, you can assign any you want to it, and then click on that one, and it should change the buttons. And it does, yep, there we go. So again, I've changed that to F and C. To however you want to do it. So then if you've got more than two motors, you can actually assign different motors with different key commands, so you can steer it more accurately. That's the reason why they've given you that option on the motors, so you can assign, if you've got more than one motor, you've got two motors, or you've got a steering motor as well as whatever, you can assign that different keys, so then you can control it a lot easier around the test track. But that's that's my build of a big wheel. As you see, it's not great, but it does actually work. It was a bit of a faff to get it to sort out, but when I got it built and I got it working, you should have seen a smile on my face. I was just like, wow, look at that, it's a big wheel. It looks a bit crude, but it does actually work. You know, I wouldn't mind putting some proper back rests on these seats or whatever. I did initially try that, but it was a bit, again, it is a bit of a faff, and it's sort of like, but I might sort of like improve on this, which you can do once you're happy with it and you want to add more bits to your build. Load it in, pull more bits off your counter, add the bits that you want to the item you want that you're building, and then just save it under the same name, and it'll ask you, do you want to override, and then you say yes, and then it'll just let you override it. But yeah, I think it's quite cool. I do like this game a lot. I'd say I don't know what the price point of this is. I hope the developer leaves a comment down below to the price point. I don't know how much it's going to be when it does come out, but say it will be early access when it does come out. So you know, over time they probably will improve this game and make it more user friendly. But anyway, I hope you guys and girls enjoyed the showcase of this game. If you did, please don't forget to like, and if you didn't like this for any reason, again guys and girls, please feel free to dislike, but please leave a comment down below so then at least then I can try and improve in the future. If you know anyone else that might also find this useful in any way or might enjoy watching this, again guys and girls, please feel free to share. It helps me out a lot, and I don't mind you sharing. And if you're new to my channel, you want to see more of this, or perhaps more games in the future, or anything else that I'm working on, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notifications bell so you're notified as soon as I upload a new video. I'll see you in the next one. TTFN.